2 years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, a disease where your immune system not only attacks your joints, but your muscles and your organs. It is a very, very, very excruciatingly painful disease that has put so many people into a terrible spot and have ended their lives. When I found this out, I was devastated because I was a healthy person my entire life. But instead of phoning it in, like I did think about, I decided that this was an opportunity to not only push myself, but to also inspire others that you can do it. And after 2 years, I gotta officially say, it has been 2 years of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass, boy! What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is Update Monday! It's really been 2 whole years, my guy. It's been 2 years. I have to thank my wife, Sabrina, my best friend, Justin, my brother, Top Deck TJ, every one of my close friends and family, and of course you, because you guys have inspired me to keep moving forward, and hopefully I've inspired to do the same. Everyone that has approached me at YCS 250th, I appreciate every single one of you guys. It was a blast. I know there were some people that I didn't get to sign, maybe next time, but overall it was an amazing experience, all the way from the 30 minutes I thought my backpack was stolen to losing the event to meeting you guys. And I gotta say, having the boots on the floor does have its advantages. It allowed me to let you know about some crazy changes that are happening in Yugioh right now, competitively and of others. That's right, big dog. Today I'm gonna be giving you the 411. I'm gonna be keeping you up to date on these huge changes. And of course, if you want to see more amazing content, you already know what to do with that subscribe button. Make sure you're doing that right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in and talk about these huge changes that are happening right now. So the first big information I actually want to share with you, big dog, is extremely important, especially if you were trying to pick up cards at the event. My guy, whatever you do, do not post on social media you are buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards at the event. You can get disqualified. That's actually what happened over the weekend to a player known as Jordan Widow Anchor. He was actually disqualified from the event by posting on a Facebook page that he was looking to buy cards despite him actually buying it from the vendors. My guy, imagine being fired on your off day. This is what it's like to be fired on your off day. Despite how lopsided this may look, I can actually see both sides of this. Vendors for the event do spend a ton of time, effort, and money to be able to set up to sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then having people sell on the tournament floor just undercuts them. But at the same time, a good amount of vendors will take advantage of this and monopolize the prices, making cards exorbitantly more expensive than what they should be. On top of that, there are times where vendors just don't have the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you're looking for. I know because I spent all 3 days asking vendors for cards, and I just had to break down and buy it on TCG Player. Holy shit, technically I bought on the sales floor. Oh no, I'm getting mad. I really want to know what you guys think about this predicament. We actually talked about Konami making some huge changes to their tournament policy a couple of weeks ago, and this seems to be a part of the things that they are really trying to aggressively push for. But anyways, you probably want to know what are some popular cards being used right now because of LA and London and YCS Bugatti? Vroom, vroom! Putting you on some knowledge for these cards will 100% elevate your game, but I gotta say, my guy, some of them I already told you about. Divine Carter, Kira overperformed not only for myself, but so many other players, being able to tribute off monsters that have activated their effects like a Cash Tier or Rise Heart who must use this effect, or being able to get rid of problematic boards like Notoria Beast because the card's really popular right now. Drolan Logbird was also another insane boom or bust Yu-Gi-Oh card for so many players. My guy, it completely shuts down so many decks' turns. Cypher Gear Gamma is another counter to monsters like Cash Tier or Rise Heart. As long as you activate a spell or trap card with no monster on the field, you could just slam this guy to your side of the field after negating a Rise Heart. And then lastly, another trend that I've seen in a ton of topping lists is evenly matched. My guy, my friend, my brother in Christ, we're maining evenly now? I think every single one of those cards has made a huge change to how we play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you should consider either playing these cards or playing against these cards going forward in your deck building, just like how these players did in the top cut. Now, as much as I would love to paint a picture that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all roses right now, it's simply not. Kashtira is dominating the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game statistically, but fortunately enough, it's not dominating the overall competition. There are a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that can actually top inside of this Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta, and this later part of the video is actually going to be dedicated to talking about how these decks were so successful. I personally think that there is a majority of people that are picking Kashtira because they think it's just a de facto tier 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck, and overall they're pretty much sheeple and are not considering some other really powerful decks that we're going to talk about. And of course, if you have a deck list of your deck that topped over this weekend, I'll leave a pinned comment so you can go ahead and put your information down below. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a trip to YCS London with Min Jae Kim's Labyrinth deck, which is extremely different than most Labyrinth decks that you've seen. As you can see, the top cards that we talked about a little bit earlier are in this deck. Ciphering Gear Gamma not only obliterates Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, allowing you to spring up your welcome Labyrinth cards, it's also just overall a great Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. Droll and Lockbird is in the side to be able to handle all of those particular Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks, and this deck is different from your normal Labyrinth deck as it plays a ton of furniture cards to be able to get into your Labyrinths. Overall, based on this YCS, I do think that Labyrinth is a bit of a struggle bus right now, but it also could be just simply because players are playing Floodgate Labyrinth, which over time has proven itself not to be as powerful as other variants like Min Jae Kim's. This particular version of the deck was built to beat you down with Labyrinth cards instead of relying on Floodgate Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and I gotta commend him, he actually did get really far. But a deck that's actually been shaking up the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta, I actually got second place with it myself, is Toby Andrews' Math Mech deck. And Math Mech is just simply a really good deck because it can search whatever answer that you want through Small World. Being able to search cards like Kaijus to be able to deal with your opponent's biggest threat. It can also use that same Small World to search into engine cards like Math Mech Circular. Hell, it can even search Droll and Lockbird, something that Toby is actually playing. My guy, this deck is a straight demon. It's a killer of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. And while you may be thinking that it's bleak, there's actually some really good information from YCS London. We don't have the deck list just yet, but what actually won was Sprite Melfi. Inside of top 8 was Kevin Mendoza in his pure Rika deck. This was actually really interesting to see. We've always said that Rika was a top tier budget contender, and here is proof in the pudding. Only Droll and Lockbird in the sideboard, but some really interesting cards that'll probably have you scratching your head. My guy, this man's an animal. He's playing Rose Lover and Rose Archer. He is a complete anime guy. But it also just goes to show in a tier 0 format, something like this would never happen, especially when we jump into the top 4 of YCS North America, because there's some really crazy decks to get there. You would think that Fluenderies has no way of ever topping the biggest event on the West Coast, but Jacob Benelis actually got 4th place with this deck. It's almost like I said, losing Barrier Statue doesn't mean anything as long as you have Fluenderies, Snow, and Explored Winds. This deck is so underexplored, and what I really love about this format is that while Kashtira is seen as the de facto best deck, there are so many amazing decks that can top, and there's even an arch nemesis to Kashtira. That's right, guys, Notoria Runic didn't get that 1st place finish. Keep in mind that Kashtira was everywhere, and for this deck to get 2nd place on the biggest event in the West Coast, that's some pretty good props. Notoria Beast is not only amazing in the mirror match, since Kashtira players play so many spell cards, it completely destroys them too. All you have to do is back it up with your own Runic cards and destroy their Kashtira monster in battle phase. You chillin'. And this particular deck can draw so many cards and get exactly what it needs. It's almost scary how powerful it can be. The deck can play Shingen Control by banishing multiple cards on your side of the field or graveyard, or it can just simply deck you out. Which one you want to lose to? As you can see, with these huge changing and a little bit of tweaking, there are so many strategies that can compete inside of the meta. We probably need an entirely new meta tier list to be able to compensate for that. Overall though, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going through some huge changes as players start to figure out what is going to be the best way to tackle Kashtira and some of the other decks alike. New hand traps are being introduced, new cards and concepts are being introduced, and I don't think that it is a tier 0 format, not even close to it. If anything, these events have pretty much proved to me that almost any deck can compete inside of this meta. We've seen some crazy strategies get to the top cut and actually do extremely well. But what I want to know is what you think about the Yu-Gi-Oh format and what's going to happen next. Of course, we probably should make a meta tier list so we could get everything down for the next events. But until then, if you want to see more amazing content, you should be sure to check out these videos, and I'll catch you on the next one.